You know, it's wild. Everything really did change in a matter of seconds. Let's set the scene. The final whistle blows on the 2025 season, right? And immediately, literally immediately, the clock just starts ticking on what has to be one of the most highly anticipated, high-stakes campaigns in modern football history. Welcome back to NFL Nexus, everyone. I'm your host, and today we're bringing you a deep dive explainer on the reigning NFC North champion Chicago Bears as they head into their 2026 mandatory minicamp. If you want the true, unfiltered pulse of the league, you've definitely found the right place. Hey, make sure you subscribe to the channel, go ahead and like this explainer, and comment down below with what you think about the Bears' highly controversial offseason moves so far. Oh, and if you want to support our deep, cinematic dives into the NFL, seriously consider becoming a channel member today to help us keep doing what we do. Okay, let's dive into this because, guys, the stakes at Halas Hall right now, they are absolutely sky high. The muggy summer air in Lake Forest is thick with something far heavier than just humidity. It's thick with expectation. The Bears aren't just trying to build a competitive team anymore, they are attempting to construct an absolute dynasty. And every single drill, every single rep on that practice field carries the immense, suffocating pressure of a fan base desperate for a ring.
Are the Bears actually ready for a Super Bowl run? Honestly, that is the ultimate heavy question that's just looming like a massive storm cloud over Halas Hall right now. It is scrutinizing every single snap they take this offseason. We aren't just talking about merely winning the division anymore. No way. We're not talking about making the playoffs and going home with a pat on the back. The goalposts have been completely uprooted, and they've been moved to the grandest stage in all of sports. And you know why? It's the ghost of the past. This is a city that has carried the mythic, incredibly heavy weight of the 1985 Bears for 4 solid decades. 40 years of waiting, 40 years of hoping. But look, being a contender on paper and actually being a champion in the literal trenches, those are two completely different realities. The margin for error here is evaporated. It's gone. Every dropped pass, every single missed assignment in the sweltering heat of June, that could literally be the exact butterfly effect that cost them a Lombardi trophy in February.
And you can see it in how they're being led. Just look at this quote. Head coach Ben Johnson is not mincing words here at all. He knows what good football and bad football looks like. In the unforgiving, brutal landscape of the NFL, good football is what keeps you employed. Bad football, that gets you a one-way ticket right out of town. Johnson is actively, aggressively establishing this new, almost ruthless culture of excellence to reach that championship pinnacle. He isn't asking his guys, he is demanding that every single player in that locker room recognizes the stark, undeniable difference between just competing and actually dominating the guy across from you. The coaching staff is literally installing this strict psychological framework. Anything less than absolute perfection is treated as a critical failure. They're tearing down all the old standards, every single one of them, and they're laying a brand new foundation made entirely of concrete and accountability.
Let's move into our first major area of focus, Section 1, the championship mindset and how they are raising the bar at Halas Hall. So the Bears are actively trying to inject a winning mentality right into the DNA of their locker room. And it started with this massive, statement-making offseason acquisition. Look, you don't change a deeply rooted culture just by giving some nice motivational speeches, right? You change it by bringing in guys who have actually climbed the mountain, survived the elements, and planted the damn flag. The front office just took a high-stakes gamble that will absolutely define their tenure. Gone is Kevin Byard III. We are talking about an all-pro, a 2-time team captain who completely commanded that locker room during his 2 years in Chicago. This is the man who literally led the entire NFL in interceptions in this exact defensive system just last season. He was the unquestioned general of the secondary. So replacing a leader of that staggering caliber, that's terrifying for a franchise with Super Bowl aspirations. But look at who they brought in, 27-year-old Coby Bryant. After spending his first 4 years out in Seattle, Bryant brings the ultimate trump card to Chicago, a newly acquired Super Bowl ring. The Bears pushed incredibly hard to get him. They leveraged the presence of Ben Johnson and franchise quarterback Caleb Williams to finally seal the deal. They are betting, heavily betting, that Bryant's championship pedigree, his youth, and his violent attacking style won't just replace Byard's production, but will entirely elevate the whole defensive mindset. It is a monumental, franchise-altering roll of the dice.
And we are already seeing the immediate, undeniable off-field ripple effects of Bryant's arrival. Seriously, it's those little, unseen details that so often dictate the success or failure of an entire season. Bryant's hands-on approach is turning heads everywhere in the building. He is actively taking 21-year-old first-round rookie Dylan Thieneman right under his wing. Think about that dynamic for a second. Thieneman is coming in burdened with these massive, crushing first-round expectations. He's going full speed, 100 miles an hour in every single drill, to the point where the veteran Bryant has to physically grab him and tell him to just slow down, take a breath during individual reps. See, the Bears are deploying Thieneman in these really exotic blitz packages under Dennis Allen, trying to utilize his incredible speed. But raw speed without direction?
That is a massive liability in the NFL. So Bryant is serving as his anchor. He is teaching this rookie how to actually survive the grueling, brutal marathon that is an NFL season. We are talking about 17 physically devastating weeks. The ice baths, the film rooms at 5 a.m., the physical toll of just bone-crushing hits week in and week out. And because of this infectious energy and this immediate mentorship, whispers are already circulating that Bryant's name is going to be on the ballot for team captain later this offseason. That's huge.
Just listen to what Bryant says here. I try not to use my past, what I did in Seattle, with these guys. The biggest thing I came here to do is be a leader. Man, Bryant is just so acutely aware of the delicate locker room dynamics. Think about it. It would be so incredibly easy for him to just walk through the doors of Hallis Hall, flash that shiny new Super Bowl ring in everyone's face, and demand immediate respect from his peers. But he understands the brutal reality of this league. Yesterday's trophies, they do not win tomorrow's games. Nothing truly carries over. It's always back to square one. He's grounded, he's preaching this tough, blue-collar, work-first approach. Taking it one grueling day at a time, one violent play at a time. He isn't resting on his past accolades for a second. He's actively trying to build a brand new culture from the ground up, earning his voice through sweat, through leverage, and through perfect execution, not just his reputation.
Which brings us to Section 2. Secondary sends a message in how they are dominating the practice field.
So, let's shift our focus to the brutal iron sharpens iron reality of the Minicamp turf. The secondary isn't just practicing right now. They are completely, totally taking over. They are sending a violent, undeniable message to the entire league, and it starts with making their own offense's life an absolute living nightmare. Let's just chronologically track the relentless dominance of these defensive backs against franchise quarterback Caleb Williams. On Tuesday, day 1, the defense drew blood early. Picture this, right? The muggy summer air is just thick. The ball is snapped. Caleb Williams drops back, and he fires a pass intended for star wideout Rome Odunze to try and end a crucial 2-minute drill. But Jalen Johnson is waiting. Johnson doesn't just break up the pass. No, he elevates, hangs in the air, and violently rips the ball away. A devastating interception. And get this, it didn't happen just once. He picked off the franchise quarterback twice on the very first day. The offensive sideline went completely dead silent. Then comes Wednesday, day 2. Enter Coby Bryant. Demonstrating the exact aggressive attacking style the coaches covet, Bryant perfectly reads the quarterback's eyes, violently jumps a route intended for J.J. Walker, and boom, secures his first interception against Williams. Takeaways are the absolute lifeblood of this defensive system, and right now, guys, the secondary is...
Now, an NFL contender walks a really delicate, terrifying tightrope during minicamp. On one hand, you have the terrifying prospect of a fully healthy Jalen Johnson. Remember, last year he suffered this totally demoralizing injury right before training camp, had to sit out the summer, really struggled to get right, and then eventually got hurt again against the Lions. But now, oh man, he looks like the absolute best player on the field, entirely dominant. He is moving with lethal precision, and he honestly looks ready to shut down half the field entirely on his own. But on the flip side, there is a dark, lingering anxiety hanging over the facility right now, and that is Kyler Gordon's absence. Gordon missed practice dealing with a soft tissue injury that also kept him out of OTAs. In the National Football League, let me tell you, a soft tissue issue in June can easily, so easily, become a haunting, season-ending specter in September. It's the smallest detail, but it's a terrifying crack in the armor of a defense that absolutely needs to be airtight if they want to go all the way.
And you just have to listen to the sheer, unadulterated competitiveness in Bryant's voice when talking about that interception. I had to get him before the offseason started too, so I feel good about that. I know he didn't like it. This quote perfectly showcases the fierce, unapologetic tension between the defense and the offense right now. He was absolutely dying to pull off an interception against QB1 before the 6-week break. I know he didn't like it. I mean, that's the exact mindset of a champion, isn't it? There are no friends between the white lines, not even in practice. The defense actively wants to physically and mentally break the offense. They want to push them to their absolute breaking point, forcing them to rebuild themselves stronger. It's almost cinematic in its intensity. It's a daily heavyweight fight right there on the grass in Lake Forest. All right, let's pivot to Section 3, the edge rusher dilemma and the looming threat facing this team. But here's the thing. Every Titan has a weakness, and a terrifying contrast is playing out right in front of the coaching staff as we speak. On one side of the coin, as we just talked about, you have the secondary. They are flying around the field, forcing turnovers, and riding this massive, unstoppable wave of soaring confidence. They look downright invincible. But on the other side, the defensive line, plagued by deafening, unaddressed edge rusher concerns. The
The talk around the league regarding the Bears' sheer lack of investments off the edge has become so loud that even the returning starters can't ignore it anymore. And what makes this so incredibly tense, what is really making the front office sweat, is the harsh financial reality. Chicago already boasts one of the highest combined cap hits at the defensive end position in the entire NFL. We are talking about tens of millions of dollars locked up in a pass rush that, right this very second, is surrounded by massive, flashing red question marks.
24.0. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the number that represents the ghost of what could have been. That is the career sack total of A.J. Epinesa, a former second-round pick of the Buffalo Bills and a prime free agent target. Epinesa actually came into Halas Hall, guys. He literally walked the halls. He worked out for the Bears. He was the prime contingency plan, sitting right there on Chicago's emergency shortlist while the front office just dragged their feet. They were waiting to see what their internal evaluations would yield when the pads finally came on. And well,
the NFL does not wait for you to make up your mind. While the Bears were patiently evaluating, the Philadelphia Eagles, a direct, incredibly dangerous NFC contender, swooped right in and aggressively signed Epinesa. They even released veteran Zadarius Smith just to make the money work. The Eagles were big game hunting, and they pulled the trigger without a single moment of hesitation. This is the brutal, unforgiving arms race of the National Football League. You blink for 1 second, and a rival sweeps up the exact talent you desperately need to survive a deep run in December. Now Epinesa's name is crossed off in permanent ink, and the list of available game-changing edge rushers is shrinking by the absolute second. It's a tough pill to swallow.
Moving on to Section 4, relying on in-house talent, and whether this internal solution can actually work.
Look at the immense, almost unfair pressure being placed on this specific trio to generate the pass rush needed to win a championship. First up, you have Montez Sweat. He is the undisputed anchor, fully expected to carry a Herculean load for all 4 quarters of every single game. Then you have Dayo Odeyingbo. The Bears are paying him top-tier money, right? But he is just now returning to team drills 7 months after suffering his second Achilles tear. Think about the horrifying physical and mental toll of that specific injury. The dreaded pop, the sheer agony. Rehabbing not 1 but 2 devastating Achilles ruptures, spending months just learning how to walk again, let alone explode off the line of scrimmage against 300-pound offensive tackles who want to take your head off. The sheer miracle and the absolute terror of his return honestly cannot be overstated. And finally, Austin Booker, a young prospect who showed mere flashes in the second half of last year. He is raw. He is still learning the painful ins and outs of being a professional. Yet the Bears desperately need him to rapidly evolve into a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. If any one of these 3 falters, the entire defensive scheme collapses like a house of cards.
Surviving that kind of pressure requires a very, very specific mentality. Just listen to Montez Sweat's icy, hyper-focused response to all this external panic. It is what it is. Everybody has an opinion. We've just got to go out there and do what we've got to do. He hears the loud chatter. He knows the media and the fans are absolutely terrified about the state of the defensive line, but he is shutting the heavy steel door on all that noise. It is what it is. It's a chillingly calm response from a man who knows that when the ball is finally snapped, opinions do not matter, pundits do not matter. The only things that matter are violence, leverage, and pure speed.
And clearly, the coaching staff has ultimate, unwavering faith in Montez Sweat. Head coach Ben Johnson sat down with Sweat and told him point blank that last year was the absolute best season of his career. And look, the tape backs it up. We are talking about 12.5 sacks, over 60 total pressures, and an absolutely massive run-stop win rate. His ability to violently play the run and the pass was simply elite. The Bears are betting their entire defensive identity on Sweat's ability to piggyback on that massive momentum, and honestly, to anchor the defense single-handedly if necessary. He is the essential linchpin. If Sweat goes down, or honestly, even if he takes half a step back, the domino effect on this championship-caliber roster would be utterly catastrophic.
Let's wrap things up with Section 5, the road to 2026, and how this offseason is defining a season.
The anxiety of the unknown is really starting to set in. We are looking at a rapidly vanishing safety net here. As the Bears depart Halas Hall following Thursday's final, grueling session, they enter a dark, silent 6-week void before training camp actually begins. And during those incredibly tense 6 weeks, the free agent market will just continue to rapidly shrink. Contenders all across the league will keep arming themselves to the teeth, but for the Bears front office, their hands are completely tied. Why? Because you cannot truly evaluate a defensive line in shorts and t-shirts. You just can't. The real test, The violent, physically devastating reality of trench warfare doesn't happen until the heavy pads finally come on in late July. So they are essentially operating blindfolded for the next month and a half, just praying that when the pads do finally click, their massive in-house gamble proves correct. Time is ticking, and honestly, the silence from the front office is deafening.
And in that dark silence, they are clinging to this desperate internal hope. Montez Sweat's assessment of young Austin Booker is absolutely everything right now. He says he's just scratching the surface. The sky is the limit for him. The Bears don't just want Booker to be good. They really need him to be an absolute revelation. They need raw, unproven talent to rapidly, almost miraculously, evolve into championship-caliber production overnight. It is the kind of massive, breathtaking leap of faith that defines the legacy of entire franchises. NFL history is literally littered with the ghosts of general managers who lost their jobs making this exact same gamble. Executives who pass on proven, veteran talent to trust a raw draft pick, they often find themselves packing up their offices a year later when the pass rush inevitably fails. The stakes here are quite literally career-defining.
Which leaves us with the ultimate, chilling question. Will trusting their heavily paid yet deeply questioned in-house defensive line be the genius, calculated move that ultimately secures a Lombardi trophy? Or will it be the fatal, stubborn mistake that completely derails a Super Bowl window before it even truly opens? The 2026 Chicago Bears are walking a razor's edge, and the fall is a very, very long way down. Look, this story is far from over. Thank you all so much for diving into the cinematic details with us today on NFL Nexus. If you appreciated this deep, intense explainer of the Bears' massive minicamp stakes, please remember to subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Seriously, are the Bears making a historic mistake by ignoring the edge rush market? I want to know what you guys think. And if you want to support more relentless, deep dives just like this one, hit that join button and become a channel member today. Until next time, keep your eyes on the turf.